Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the welcome and am eager to get to work. The Chinese Communist Party is an existential threat to America and its allies, and make no mistake, is seeking to uproot freedom and democracy in the pursuit of power, and they're partnering with their own cadre of authoritarians to do so. Emboldened by the perceived weakness of this administration, the CCP regularly engages in underhanded trade and market manipulation practices, subsidizes the deadly fentanyl precursors pouring over our borders, and is actively building up its military in preparation for a possible invasion of our ally Taiwan. We therefore have to be clear-eyed and resolute in our response to Chinese aggression and ensure that this Congress is taking the right measures to prioritize our economic and national security interests. Mr. Bry, drone technology has been identified as a particular industry of interest as we consider our competitive posture with China, due in part to both its vast potential for future innovation as well as its dual-use purposes with defense. Recently, Autel was added to the entity list for their involvement in distributing controlled items to aid Russia's war effort, and DJI was already listed due to their use cases of biometric surveillance and tracking to complement China's Uyghur genocide operation. These ties are troubling, as market studies indicate that Chinese-made drones account for roughly 60% of the American industrial market and have an outsized presence in the first responder market. However, you're now seeing states taking matters into their own hands and restricting the use of Chinese drones, states like Florida, Mississippi, and Arkansas. Can you tell me what kind of other drones use cases present national security threats and vulnerabilities?
Well, Representative Cline, I really appreciate the question. I think one of the most important things to understand is just the dual-use nature of the technology, and you can see it in the information that you're citing. Oftentimes, the same drones that are being used in public safety are the ones that the Russians are using on the battlefield in Ukraine. So there's just an inherent national security risk because it's such a powerful dual-use technology. You know, another sector I would point to, which is a really important one for us, is energy. So we sell to a number of the largest energy utilities in the U.S. They use our drones to inspect the energy grid, and we're headed towards a world where drones essentially become part of the energy infrastructure, where every power plant, every substation has an autonomous drone installed there that can fly itself, that can perform persistent inspections. And so, you know, if the risk is a 3 or 4 today, it goes up to a 9 or 10 when these things really become network-connected installed infrastructure.
Critical infrastructure, bridges, roads as well.
Yes, yes, sir. I mean, we sell to a number of the state departments of transportation. They are heavy drone users. You know, I think we're doing quite well in that market, but the Chinese drones are still present.
In what ways does the technology present privacy concerns to would-be users?
So this is another really important question and something we think quite a bit about. One of the ways we think about what we're building is the world's best automated data capture platform, which is super powerful for all kinds of great uses, but definitely comes with some privacy concerns as well. This is something we work with our customers on. We've taken a proactive stance in best practices, for example, in public safety. We do a lot of work with our customer agencies there on community engagement, transparency, best practices to build trust with community and make sure that their officers are using drones in appropriate ways. But I think the privacy concerns speak to the greater sort of risk profile of having drones that are connecting back to Chinese servers and in the worst case could actually be taking instructions from those servers.
Thank you. Dr. Miller, appreciate you being here. I've enjoyed your book very much. One distinct advantage that the U.S. and Taiwan possesses over China is its advances in semiconductor technology, and it's been the policy of the U.S. since 2019 to carry out strict export controls on this sector to limit China's ability to obtain high-end semiconductor chips, technology, manufacturing equipment, and know-how. However, while an impediment, China's largest semiconductor foundry, SMIC, still managed to raise some eyebrows with its development of a 7-nanometer chip used in Huawei's 5G phone. What suggestions might you have to ensure that gaps in this technology denial strategy aren't exploited?
Representative, I think it's clear that the initial export controls that were released in 2022 did have some loopholes in them that have been tightened somewhat since then, and I think deserve to be tightened further. It's bad to let technology go into China, but it's even worse to let advanced technology be sold into China in ways that we're trying to prevent. And I think we need to focus on this issue. We need to make sure that our regulations are aligned with those of allies that have comparable technologies, and this ought to be an area of focus.
Would you say European allies have a role to play in this effort, and are they doing enough?
I think both our European and our Asian allies have a role to play, and I think there's more they should do.
Okay, thank you. I yield back.
Thank you.